Good morning, everybody. Today we are holding a Government Operations and Fiscal Policy Committee work session. We have 3 items on the agenda. These are oversight work sessions. So we're not going to be taking votes. Basically, we decided in 2019, as we were working on different types of different procedures and protocols and processes, that it would be good to hold oversight sessions during the fall. So that way, once we get into budget season, et cetera, it is much more difficult to have these types of conversations and just opportunities to hear from different departments, different programs, different initiatives, and just have a much more robust conversation. So we are continuing on this process in this fall, and for today's session, we are going to hear from our Merit System Protection Board, our Ethics Commission, and also Office of Procurement. So for our first item, it will be the Merit System Protection Board, and I want to welcome all of our guests from the Merit System Protection Board and really thank you for your continued diligence. I know that especially through this almost 2 years now with the pandemic, there has had to be a lot of adjustments in terms of how to conduct duties. And I know that this board has continued to work in a very diligent fashion, which is really important for our employees. We know that the MSPB plays a vital role in ensuring the county employees have an avenue they can pursue to redress grievances. And this is, as I said earlier, something that I know has been especially vital as our employees have had to adjust to this new and unprecedented operating procedures. So it is also exciting to see that as normal operations are resuming, the Merit System Protection Board is working with the Office of Racial Equity and Social Justice to further reform our system in order to incorporate racial equity and social justice into Merit System Protection Board operations. And although, of course, this is a process that will take time, it is really great to see that they have already begun to do this in a very active fashion. So with that, I'd like to thank Mr. Carlos Camacho from our council staff who prepared the packet, and I'm going to turn it over to him to walk us through the packet. And again, just so grateful to our Merit System Protection Board guests who have really taken a leadership role, especially during this entire pandemic. So Mr. Camacho, if you can walk us through the packet, and then also make sure, because sometimes I can't see everybody on the screen, but make sure that you also mention and recognize our guests from the Merit System Protection Board.
Yeah, sure. So thank you so much, Committee Chair Navarro. We have with us Bruce Martin, Executive Director of the Merit System Protection Board. We also have Harriet Davidson, the Chair of the Merit System Protection Board. And we also have Sonia Childs, also from the Merit System Protection Board.
And we have, so Marianne Keefe is here as well.
Yeah, Marianne Keefe is here as well from the Ethics Commission. Thank you so much. You did a great job at introducing this item, so I won't take too much time. So yeah, like you said, the Merit System Protection Board oversees the county's merit system and protects county government employees and job applicant rights guaranteed under the merit system law. So they hear and adjudicate matters related to removal, demotion, or suspension of merit system employees, and also handle grievance appeals. The board also conducts studies and audits of the administration of the merit and retirement pay systems, as well as the compensation and classification plans of the county. And on a periodic basis, report findings and recommendations to the executive and to the council. They also must publish an annual report, which a link is provided in the packet as well. So just briefly going over the Merit System Protection Board's FY22 budget, it was approved at $267,921, a slight increase from the FY21 approved budget, really just related to compensation adjustments and adjustments to inflation. Related to COVID-19, So the Merit System Protection Board staff, they quickly put together policies to handle electronic filings of appeals and also procedures to hold virtual hearings. So really the board has been effectively able to continue all its work despite all the changes in processes due to COVID-19. And more information on electronic filing guidance and virtual hearing procedures can be found at circles 3 through 6 in the packet. So every 5 years, the Merit System Protection Board has to conduct an audit of the county's classification and compensation plan. The last audit was completed in FY18, meaning that the next audit is due in FY23. Just a bit of background on the last audit. So the council approved $250,000 in FY17 and $125,000 in FY18 to complete that audit. Funding was split into 2 years to reduce the fiscal impact on a single year. The contractor that was hired by the county to conduct this audit, it was kind of a fortuitous situation last time. So the Merit System Protection Board was able to procure this contractor through a bridge contract because they were doing similar work with Montgomery College. But it's likely that this situation is not going to be replicated again. So we're not going to use the same contractor. So the cost of the audit is still a little bit up in the air, but MSPB is working with OMB to kind of formulate a cost structure for that audit. As a result of the FY18 audit, when reviewing the proposed creations of new occupational classifications, the board recommended to the Office of Human Resources on the abolition of and consolidation of unnecessary classifications. The FY23 audit or FY24 audit will prioritize the review of OHR's implementation of the FY18 audit recommendations. And these audit recommendations are also found via link in the packet. Like you mentioned, Committee Chair Navarro, MSPB plans to work with the Office of Racial Equity and Social Justice to look at the scope of the audit, the previous audit, and see how we could incorporate racial equity and social justice into the audit and also into board activities. And then the last page, on page 3 of the packet, we just included some information on the number of appeals that the board has looked into the last 5 fiscal years, just to give you a sense of the workload. So the table looks at appeals based on appeal issues. So there's grievances, disciplinary action, denial of employment or promotion, termination, and other. So from 2018 to the present, MSPB has reviewed 210 appeals. The majority of the appeals have involved employee grievances. So of note, in FY21, you can see a large increase in the number of appeals filed. And this was primarily due to employees filing grievances against the county related to the COVID-19 pay differential policy that was put in place for front-facing employees during the pandemic. So that's basically a brief overview. I will hand it over to Bruce or the board members if they want to add anything.
Yeah, maybe we can hear from the chair first, and then we'll turn it over to Bruce. Shall we do that, Ms. Davidson?
Thank you, Chair Navarro. First, my name is Harriet Davidson. I'm the chair of the MSPB. With me today is Sonia Childs, who is the vice chair, and Bruce Martin, who is our executive director. First and foremost, I'd like to, thank the Government Operations Committee for its continued support of the MSPB. And Chair Navarro, you did an outstanding introduction for the work that the board has done and what we are planning to do in the future. Also a shout out to Mr. Camacho for doing an admirable job briefing you all on the work of the MSPB. But one topic that I know has been mentioned, and we'd like to kind of give you a heads up about this, is for FY23, we will be asking you for money for a classification and compensation audit. Now, we did one in FY 2018, and that reviewed pay equity issues. And one of the goals for our 2023 audit is that we're going to try to see, what was accomplished in terms of the recommendations that were made by the contractor, but also we really want to zero in on some of the RESG issues that came out in the report, and to even, broaden the scope to include, really an in-depth analysis through this type of a lens, and to include protected classes that might not have been focused on in the previous study. And we think that, this is an opportune time to do this because of, the county-wide focus on, racial equity and social justice. I want to compliment, Mr. Martin. He's already reached out to the Office of Racial Equity and Social Justice so that we can complement our activities with that office, and also get the input from the Office of Human Resources concerning the scope and details of the proposed audit. And of course, we will, work with the Office of Procurement should council give us the approval to go ahead with this audit. So I also want to thank Mr. Martin and my colleagues for doing such an outstanding job during COVID. I think we hit the ground running right away, and we had, I think, the highest caseload in many years during this period, and everything was handled magnificently, if I must say so myself. So I want to compliment everybody. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer anything that you may have.
Thank you so much, Chairwoman. This, it goes without saying that just looking at that chart, it's just so extraordinary how in so many different places within our county government, the pandemic year, especially 2020, was just off the charts in so many levels. Everybody just really went above and beyond to address it. And so kudos to you, kudos to the members for really working so hard. I know Ms. Childs is not on the screen, but if she has anything to add, Ms. Childs, if you would like to share some words with us before we turn it over to Mr. Martin.
No, I'm just very pleased to participate and thank everyone for all that they have been doing to support the Merit System Protection Board. And as we move into new territories, we are really expecting to work collaboratively with all of the sub-agencies. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Martin.
Well, I'm available to answer questions. I don't have much to add to this. I think Carlos did a great job summarizing the work of the agency.
Thank you. I, again, really appreciate all your work. I did, as I was listening to Chairwoman Davison talk about the audit and just some of the nexus with racial equity and social justice, and just trying to figure out what to incorporate. I did want to share how we on the county council and really out there in with the community and talking to folks, of course, in our county executive's office, have been really focused on, what have we learned from this pandemic vis-a-vis gaps that we have within our staffing complement. For years, for example, we have been noting, and trying to address various issues around staff capacity, staff that is culturally proficient, staff that has, language capacity and things of that nature. And it's been hard, like when we talk about mental health, let's say professionals, or when we talk about just overall, outreach into the community to engage and share information, that it doesn't fit very nicely or neatly within our classifications. And so oftentimes there isn't necessarily a recognition of the type of skill set that requires. And so we have a mismatch. And as we are examining the latest census results, right, which have shown that the county continues to grow in terms of diversity, as we saw ourselves confronting this pandemic and having to retool so quickly because information literally was a life-saving measure, we kept running into this notion of, whoa, we really don't have enough staff that is, culturally proficient, that has linguistic capacity, and, and all of these areas. And so I just hope that as you have these conversations about the audit, that, there's a way to perhaps start looking at some of that, just to see where it is that we need to go. And we have had conversations with our HR folks as well about, can we creatively begin to kind of grow our own and find different ways to classify folks, recognizing those important skill sets, and see if that way we can, definitely address and fill some of the gaps. But I do believe that there has to be some kind of structural way for us to lead in this space in order to meet the needs of our growing community. So I just wanted to offer that as an observation, because it is kind of, I feel like we've known this for a very long time, but no doubt the pandemic plus, I think, the census, in my opinion, has literally brought this up as an extraordinary priority for how we view or how we deal with our capacity to serve our residents. So just wanted to share that.
Well, and thank you for that, because that is the direction that the board wants to go. One of what we've talked about internally was the need to review and standardize classification specifications, job descriptions, minimum qualifications, to make sure that everything being asked is job related and necessary. And if you do it right, it will have the benefit of removing barriers to attracting a diverse candidate pool, and it'll also hopefully bring in people with diverse life, education, professional experiences. So that's exactly the direction that we're hoping to go, and the emphasis we're hoping to have.
That's awesome. Yeah, I am mindful of how, when the council made the decision to pivot very quickly and actually launch a COVID-19 Latino specific initiative and a COVID-19 African American Black initiative. Part of it was, this notion of having, for example, health promoters who were just, community leaders who were literally out there, outside of grocery stores, talking to folks out in the community, going to faith-based institutions, et cetera, to just share the information. And look at where we are now. Montgomery County is leading the nation, and we have effectively closed the disparity in terms of vaccination rates and cases with our African American and Latino community, which is no easy thing to do. But I am always mindful of how it was because there was this comprehensive approach. Yet when you start talking to some of these folks about, would they like to pursue work within our county government, it's very hard because they don't necessarily fit in these neat boxes, and therefore their skill set is not necessarily recognized. So, it's just something very interesting that I think it would be really important for us to start thinking about in a different angle, for example. Right. Council members, any questions or comments? Councilmember Katz?
Yeah, no, just very briefly, thank you all very, very much for all that you do. I was not aware that you had as many until I saw Carlos's very good packet. I was not aware of the uptick for FY21. I mean, I knew that you were doing work. I mean, don't get me wrong here. I just had no idea of how much work and how many grievances were being filed, and the fact that I didn't know it meant that we didn't get any. I didn't get any complaints that they weren't being handled, quickly and properly. So anyhow, thank you very, very much for all that you do, and we sincerely appreciate it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank
No,
you.
just ditto. That's
So
okay. Look forward to seeing the results of the audit in particular. Appreciate all the work that you're doing on that, and just appreciate all your service and look forward to continued conversation. I know that we'll have a lot to chew on and think through as we learn more. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Really do appreciate this time to talk and, you know, just kind of share information. And as I said, usually during budget, a lot of analysis has been done beforehand, and we get the request and we have our marathon sessions, et cetera. And sometimes it's not so easy to just pause and just reflect on some issues and all of that. So I do appreciate you taking the time to come and share with us. And again, we sincerely thank you for everything that you've done and how you stepped up and took care of this unprecedented caseload during one of the most difficult times for us here in the county. So thank you so much. And with that, we're going to move to our second item. And so today, for our second item, we have an oversight work session, and this is for our ethics commission. And as we recall, the County Council enacted 2 pieces of legislation since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, which updated our ethics laws. We had Bill 47-20, Ethics Commission Conflict of Interest, Financial Disclosure Amendments, and also we have Bill 42-20, Ethics, Public Accountability and Transparency Amendments. I do want to thank Councilmember Friedson for taking the lead on Bill 42-20. I think it's been really wonderful to see how we've been able to collaborate closely with our Ethics Commission to close those, gaps that were made obvious by certain events in 2019. And it is clear that we always strive to be a responsive government that adapts. And I think this is what we have done and will continue to do without a doubt. And so it is really wonderful to have this opportunity to just check in. And it's good to see board members, Mary Ann Keefe, as well as Bruce Romer, and of course, Mr. Cobb, who always leads this commission so well and is always available to answer any questions that anybody might have. So really appreciate the professionalism and the dedication of all the commissioners as well. Mr. Camacho has prepared a packet for us, so I will turn it over to you, and then we can engage in a conversation with our guests.
Great. So just to briefly go through my packet, the mission of the Ethics Commission is to promote public's trust in county government through independent administration and enforcement of laws designed to ensure the impartiality of county employees, including elected officials, in the execution of their duties and responsibilities. So the commission primarily does their work through the administration of 3 programs, so financial disclosures, lobbying disclosures, and outside employment approval. But the commission does more than that. They also engage in ethics training, conducting ethics training for county employees, as well as the boards, commissions, and committees for the county. And they also provide guidance and recommendations regarding the county's public ethics laws. So the Ethics Commission is composed of 5 members serving 4-year terms. Just recently, on September 28th, 2021, the council approved 2 new appointed members, Jennifer Collins and Mary Ann Keefe, who's with us today. Briefly going through the budget, the council approved the Ethics Commission's FY22 operating budget of $371,629, a slight increase from FY21, primarily because of compensation and retirement adjustments, but also there were some decreases related to printing and mail expenses. In terms of operations and programs, so the Ethics Commission had been operating out of the Broom School on Twin Brook Parkway in Rockville due to some improvements that were being made on the 2nd floor of the council office building. The commission has since moved back to the council office building starting in September 2021. Remote work during the pandemic was really seamless for the Ethics Commission because the county had made previous investments in transitioning the Ethics Commission's programs to online platforms. So this includes the employee financial disclosures, the lobbyist registration, and the outside employment disclosures, which are all available online. So this has resulted in increased ease of filing, but also provides commission staff with real-time program information, which can be found in the annual report, which is included in the packet on circle pages 1 through 12. So as Committee Chair Navarro mentioned, the Ethics Commission helped to craft and implement legislation. So Bill 4720 was enacted by the Council and was put into effect June 1st, 2021. And the bill strengthens the Commission's ability to require attendance at public ethics training courses. It amends the laws governing appeals of decisions made by the Ethics Commission, amends the law governing the Commission's resolution of complaints, repeals an exception to the restrictions on outside employment for elected officials, and also clarifies an exception on soliciting or accepting small gifts. And it also modifies the procedures for administering the financial disclosure process. And then just a brief summary of Bill 4220. So this bill makes changes regarding the disclosure of employment contracts to the Council. It expands the definition of outside employment by a public employee to include sale and promotion of intellectual property. It expands the prohibitions on participation by a public employee in a matter where the employee has received compensation from an individual or an organization. It expands the financial disclosure requirement for certain sources of earned income. And finally, it prohibits the county's chief administrative officer from engaging in other employment. So that's all I have. Turn it over to commissioners and Director Cobb.
All right, Vice Chair Rover, anything you'd like to share with us?
Thank you, Chair Navarro, and hello, committee members Katz and Friedson. Good to see you all. And Carlos, thank you very much for that really excellent summary of what we've been up to. And yes, as alluded to, we're pleased to welcome Marianne as a new member of the commission, along with Jennifer. I guess a couple of just observations. Carlos did allude to this, but we feel quite comfortable that we've been able to meet the challenges of the pandemic, and in some measure, in large measure, really to the help from the council and the county government in providing the technology that allowed us to kind of weather the storm, as it were. And we're looking forward to getting back to a more normal environment. One other thing that I wanted to kind of stress, and our staff director and chief counsel, Robert Cobb, may touch on this, but one of the things that, especially in the last year, demonstrated that we, the commission, and Mr. Cobb, have a really good working relationship with the Office of Inspector General and the County Attorney's Office. And that has really helped us get to the right where we want to be. And it should be acknowledged, and the fact that we have that really good relationship. We appreciate the council's support in passing the legislation that was alluded to that we've recommended. We're certainly looking forward to the future. We've weathered a couple of really significant challenges in the past year, which are detailed in our report. But again, thank you very much for your support, and looking forward to working with you.
Thank you so much, Bruce. Ms. Keith, anything you'd like to add? Oh, you're muted. Marianne, you're muted.
I'm sorry.
There you go.
My technical skills could be better. Today is actually my 1 month anniversary on the commission, and I am so pleased to be a part of such an important operation of our county government. I know that you agree with me that Montgomery County citizens deserve a government with the highest standard of ethics. And I believe that our commission works very hard to provide that. I'm most especially interested in the training programs and that we do, and because that is so important. In a part of my former life where I worked on ethics in the private sector, that was something that that I stressed to a great degree, because people need to know, they need to be told, and they need to be retold. Having training on a regular basis to reinforce what it's all about. And I must say, I was really, really impressed with the online training that has recently been put together by Mr. Cobb. That is an excellent piece. That will be very, very helpful. And I know it's going to be rolled out soon to boards and commission members, which is very important as well. But I'm sure he's got lots more to tell you. I'm the new kid on the block, and I'm just very happy to be part of this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marianne. Okay, Mr. Cobb.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to talk to the committee today. I want to, on behalf of the commission, thank the council for its assistance in connection with the legislative endeavors, and particularly Councilmember Friedson, with respect to the two bills that passed. And as following up on what Marianne just said about the training, having the additional authority pursuant to Bill 4720 is really going to empower the Ethics Commission to really dictate how ethics training is delivered in the county. And again, we're extremely appreciative of that new authority. I think it's from my perspective, and Carl has got into this about the seamlessness of our operations, which was attributable to prior investments in 2013 with respect to our lobbying activity, registration and activity reporting system. Our financial disclosure system was rebuilt in 2018. The outside employment system was first implemented online in 2015, and then subsequently for police in 2019 when we brought them on board. And as a consequence of that, even without the COVID, our staff has been able to move from 3 persons to 2 persons because of the data entry elements that were eliminated. Aaron Chu is our program manager and does a fantastic job of administrating all 3 of these programs. But they also not just involve commission staff time, but the review and approval with respect to outside employment and financial disclosure by many county employees who are involved in these processes. So these efficiencies that have been gained through online systems were great before COVID, but then when COVID hit, our administration of these programs was totally seamless. There was no additional gyrations that we had to perform in order to execute these things remotely. So that was great. The point that Bruce made about the relationships that we have with many county agencies, but particularly the Office of Inspector General and the County Attorney's Office, have been extremely helpful in our the Commission's execution of its mandate, and that in part is because of the challenging statutory environment associated with the investigative process. So close collaboration with the Office of Inspector General and getting their assistance in connection with investigatory matters has really been important to the Commission in getting its job done. Training, as again Marianne alluded to, we've went from in-person training to Microsoft Teams, primarily some Zoom training, and so we've been able to do it. The overall feedback has been very positive with respect to the more than 1,000 people that we've trained in the last year. But again, in-person training is ideal because then you get eye-to-eye contact in terms of the people receiving it, and so we look forward to, again, taking the new authority that went into effect on June 1, 2021, and making sure that we get people, all the needed training is delivered through our processes. So we're happy to be back in the council office building after being over at the Broom School, and look forward to seeing you around the building. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Cobb. Thank you for everything that you do as well. And it really does make a huge difference to have somebody of your caliber leading this commission, and always, as I said, very available for questions or to clarify issues, etc. I think I had seen Councilor Murphy's hands up. There he goes.
Yeah, I'll just be very brief. I appreciate all of the comments about the legislative work that we've all been able to do together, and really this committee, I think, entirely deserves credit for a lot of that work. But as we've seen at the state level, at the federal level, the currency that we have in public life is public trust. And I just really appreciate the willingness of this council to really ensure that Montgomery County has the highest ethical standards, that we hold ourselves to an even greater standard than average, an even greater standard than the state, that we have repeatedly said that we were going to do that, and we have, particularly those of us who are lucky enough to serve in elected office and high appointed office. And I just really appreciate the Ethics Commission. We can't do it without you. And, it is just so important to ensuring everything else that we do in government. It starts with the community's belief that it's being done for the right reasons in the most appropriate way, and that doesn't happen without the Ethics Commission ensuring that it happens. It's by the work that you do every day, and it's a tough balance between independence and collaboration. That is always, whether it's an inspector general, whether it's an ethics commission, you want to have a good working relationship, but you don't want to be too close, right? There has to be some delineation. And I just really appreciate the way that you all have struck that balance, as well as our inspector general. I think that we have figured out a way to ensure to the public that they can trust that their public officials are here for the public good and not for personal gain. And I just wanted to thank you so much for that. I don't think there's anything else we do in government that is more important than this, because it speaks to the integrity of every single decision that we make, every investment that we choose, every person who's provided responsibility that can have life and death and life-altering consequences for our residents. I just really just wanted to appreciate all the work that you do, and thank you for that, and look forward to continuing to raise the bar for our county and for our county government so that it's worthy of the residents that it represents.
Thank you, Councilmember Peterson. Councilmember Katz.
Thank you. I just want to join the chorus and say me too. I agree with my colleagues, and I sincerely appreciate everything that each of you, Mr. Cobb and Mr. Romer and Ms. O'Keefe and Ms. Keefe, that you do for us. I mean, it's been well said by my colleagues, and I don't need to repeat that. But there again, when you talked about being seamless, you were. I mean, you continue to be able to do your work in such a manner that was most impressive and most necessary. So with all that said, thank you very much. It's always good. And Bruce, I have to tell you, you look like an air traffic controller. I just want you to know that. But other than that, it's always fun to see everybody. Thanks.
Maybe that's going to be part of Bruce's Halloween costume. He's all set already, giving us a sneak preview right there. Well, thank you so much. I mean, I think it's a good opportunity to touch base with you, reflect on some of the changes that we've been able to implement and to facilitate, quite frankly, that you get to implement, and continuing to improve. I mean, that is the goal, as has been said by my colleagues. We do strive to do that. And many times it's, people may be inadvertently doing something that, falls within these laws. And that's why the training is so important. It's why making sure that we don't leave any kind of, situation that can be conducive to what may be either perceived or an entire, violation of our ethics laws. And yeah, trust from our residents is the most important element in the work that we do. So really appreciate all your work and dedication. And we'll continue to stay in touch and continue to have, conversations with you as we go through. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So thank you. Now we're going to move on to our last session, oversight session, and this is the Office of Procurement. And I want to thank our partners in the Office of Procurement for all their hard work because especially, again, during this pandemic, as I've been saying, it's a theme. Everybody has been tested in ways that we never even imagined, but this particular office did so much to make sure that, for example, our frontline workers would get the supplies they needed to stay safe. Also to sift through many of the solicitations that was coming in to determine what was the best way forward. That was so important. While making sure that you're keeping, our finances in check, because we understand how critical it is to balance all of this. I have to say that as I was looking at the packet, it's just really amazing to look at how you continue to do things like implementing the local small business reserve program, which has spent about $129 million on contractors through this program, and also the minority female disabled program, which saw a participation rate of 26.86%, a 20-year high. And of course, we do have this disparity study that has been funded and should be completed in 2022. But that really says a lot in terms of everything that you are juggling and that you are doing. So it does deserve a lot of, I think, recognition and really praise for everything that you continue to do. And so Director Shetty, really appreciate that. And Ms. Deno, I see Mr. Harrington here from Office of Management and Budget, but everybody really has stepped up in significant ways to really truly take this to the next level. And so I really welcome this opportunity to figure out what are some of the lessons learned, what are some of the things that that you feel we need to continue to implement, because to me that's been part of this experience is what have we learned that we can keep, that we can build upon, that doesn't serve us anymore. What are some of those things? And I know that this particular office plays such a pivotal role in terms of how we also provide services and goods to residents and just county government. So appreciate that. As Ms. Pam Jones is here with Papia's iPhone. Is the name, and really want to thank you also for everything that you've done for quite a long time as well. So let me turn to Dr. Torregas and Mr. Mia to just walk us through what the packet that they've prepared, and then we'll again engage in a conversation with colleagues.
I can start by making a couple of quick remarks, Madam Chair, and then turn it over to my colleague Naeem. As you know, I'm always looking for public administration kind of strategies, and this past year has been a real good one for our Office of Procurement. They tried 2 years ago to develop an embedded program in 3 high priority departments: DGS, DOT, General Services, Transportation, and Technology Services, now TEBS, Technology Enterprise Business Solutions. By embedding people in those departments to see if they can develop a new relationship that would be much more open and quicker. And because of the pandemic, there was some kind of a slowdown. So one of the things that I wish Mr. Shetty and his staff would focus on with you is the status of that program. The other one is a metric, and we're always looking for metrics, and procurement is both blessed and damned by having a very simple one. How long does it take for a department from the time they ask for help in procurement to the time they actually get the stuff that they wanted? And that metric, in times of COVID, I was expecting it to go sky high, but it didn't. It stayed in reasonable levels. And again, Mr. Shetty and his staff might want to focus on what happened, how were they able to manage so that metric stayed in foreseeable numbers. Those are my two remarks that I hope you can engage the Department of Procurement, the Office of Procurement with. And now I'm going to turn it over to my friend Mia to see if he can, Naeem, to see if he can walk you through the full packet. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Tragus, and good morning. The packet has a whole list of accomplishments, which I'll let the department kind of cover. Again, as Dr. Tragus mentioned, the procurement did begin an initiative 2 years ago by transferring 3 positions. So we can get an update on what that initiative has been, even though it's been disrupted by the pandemic the last year and a half. I also want to point out, the department could speak to any staffing issues in terms of recruitment they've been facing, particularly as many of their skill sets for recruitment are very specialized. So that's another topic that the committee could get some information on. But with that, that's all I have, and Director Shetty can speak to more.
All right, Director Shetty.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for allowing us the time to speak with you. Thank you for summarizing some of our key headlines, if you will, in the opening of this. I don't want to spend too much time on this presentation deck because based on the committee chair's comments, clearly you've had some time to review what we submitted. But if possible, I'd like to go through it relatively quickly. Again, just tick off some of the main points and then dedicate time to answering the questions that Costas and Naeem said would be beneficial for us to discuss with you. So this was, honestly, it started off as a couple of bullets that we put together. And at Naeem and Costas' recommendation, we actually turned this into a presentation deck. But the idea was to just share with you the highlights of what this journey has been like through COVID. So just running through some of the main headlines, and again, a couple of the numbers that were already brought up. I'll go through this slide clockwise, starting on the top left. We did have significant opportunities with our local businesses, especially during the pandemic when, as you know, supply chains all over the world really have broken down. One of the big moves was earlier this year, all informal solicitations, that is anything under $100,000 was moved to the local small business reserve program, which means that anybody interested in getting services or a solicitation for goods had to go through local businesses first, and only if they couldn't find a local business that was able to provide those services could they then go outside. As you can see, we had 27.2% of addressable spend spent with local businesses last year, which is good considering the goal is about 25%. The other big addition in terms of policies that I was able to change was adding the VA, the service disabled veteran category, to be part of the minority female disabled certification. So going forward, we also recognize that certification, and that opens the doors to more entities to participate in our MFP law and program. Something that I'm extremely proud of and happened because of a very concerted effort on the part of our team by constantly reinforcing this value. We were able to achieve a 20-year high. And we say 20-year high because that's as far back as our records go. We have written records that are about, from 2001. But this 26.86% and $200 million is something that I am and will probably always be very proud of, because it requires effort on the part of my office to encourage spend with MFD-owned companies, but it also requires the rest of the county to buy into that message and actually come along with us on that journey. And even as we await the new disparity study, the blended average of what we've been working with is about 20%. So we're obviously doing a lot better than than expectations. A metric that Costas didn't mention that I always felt was a peculiar thing that procurement didn't necessarily highlight was savings. Yes, speed is important. I'd say risk management is also very important, and then savings is very important. We have been able to drive it's almost geometric growth in savings within the Office of Procurement. The year prior to my starting, it was, I want to say, a couple of $100,000 in savings that were captured. In my first year, it was about building a mindset and a discipline. We more than doubled that number. And then during the pandemic, as you can see, we've quadrupled that number. And my goal is to make sure that not only my office, which is where we're currently focusing our efforts on savings, but the county itself starts seeing procurement as a driver of savings and the procurement process as an opportunity to allow for other things to happen if we can be more thoughtful about it. And the last thing that I wanted to flag on that page is we've also proposed a new, and this I would put in the bucket of experimentation, but we proposed a sustainability green staffer for FY23, because as we focus on other priorities like local and small businesses and minority female disabled businesses, I think that the green business space is one that we also need to start paying attention to. And there may be opportunities depending on how the federal bill goes that we might even have funding opportunities there. Happy to discuss that later. The next section that people always care about is outreach and accessibility. This is a slide I will definitely run through very quickly. You'll see that we hosted a reverse trade show, which is this idea I had that instead of having vendors tell us what they can do, let's have the departments tell the vendors what we're looking for. It was done virtually in December of 2020. We're hoping to do another one this year, mostly because of how well that one was received. We had 600 participants, which is more than we'd have had for any live event, in-person event, I should say, rather. We also had the advantage of being able to save these sessions, and so they've become part of what any vendor can reference when they're wondering what services the county is interested in purchasing this year. We've been hosting monthly open houses since I got here. Obviously, during COVID, those became virtual. They're still very well received and very well attended. We've participated in as many events as we could. Obviously, as you can imagine, because of COVID, live events were gone, and it was mostly virtual events. We've got a newsletter that we obviously amped up, and we've amped up our social media presence as well. Again, keeping in mind that it's hard to get that face time with folks. And one of the biggest pushes was the website itself, which is something that I always felt wasn't fit for purpose. It's essentially the virtual front door to an office, and it always felt like it was designed for the people in the house rather than for the people on the outside. And so we completely redesigned this website to give it a much more vendor-centric feel. In fact, one of the newest additions was a vendor resources section within it. But as you can see from the snippets over here, we implemented projections where we forecast what the county might be buying, allowing vendors to get their ducks in a row. We've posted the IFB, the invitation for bids and request for proposals process maps that have always been an enigma to people unless they read an OLO report. But we've now posted them, and we've even indicated how long each step would take and who all is involved in each step if you squint and look at the key that is provided on the map on the bottom left of the page. The solicitation tracker, which allowed vendors the transparency to know where things were going, on the top left, and on the bottom right, these how-to videos that we created. I always imagine these being sort of like TikTok videos that are fun, done by individuals on the team or in the using departments that basically just give you a roadmap for how something needs to be done. And it's less tedious than having to read through a booklet or a handbook or a pocket guide or what have you. But all these enhancements, I think, allowed us to access more people. I think they allowed us to show that even during the pandemic, in the spirit of not letting a crisis go to waste, we were trying to do better things and do better for and by our stakeholders. Efficiencies is one of those things which, frankly, I don't know that we had a choice in the matter. We were obviously working, we were forced to do a lot more with less. So here's some examples of the things that we brought to bear over the last couple of years. The view scope button is one that Council Member Katz is probably familiar with, but this is the button that allowed people to go from having to deal with hundreds of pages to sometimes 8 pages. It's efficient in that if somebody is considering doing business with the county, it reduces the burden they have in terms of evaluating it. And our hope was it increases competition because more people are now aware of what we're trying to do. We switched to e-procurement, another one of those things where, we didn't let the crisis go to waste. We used the pandemic as an opportunity to find a no-cost solution to allow us to do e-procurement, to digitize that process end to end. Obviously, there are some departments that were more eager to jump on that bandwagon than others, but our goal is to have this be the way procurement is done across the board in the future. And then there's the Pro Launcher, which is just a button that in the past, we'd have to work with the department, sort of reach out to them proactively, remind them that a solicitation is due or that a contract is about to end and they need to resolicit it. This tool basically gives them the opportunity to automatically trigger that process. It offers a meeting with one of our staff if that's what they'd like. It just, again, it's sort of making the process more efficient, both internally and externally. And again, these were just a few highlights that I picked because I figured they'd be less in the weeds and easy enough to explain quickly. But lots of really cool changes done by the team. Frankly, a lot of these ideas were organically grown by folks in the team and from listening to feedback from vendors. The pandemic, again, I appreciate the chair recognizing the work that went into it. I don't know that I will ever fully recover from what the early days of this pandemic entailed for us. It wasn't just about getting the PPE that people needed, and on the top right-hand side, you can see that we vetted 2,120 offers. It's more the fact that we recognized the life and death nature of what we were trying to do. We recognized the fact that the PPE we were trying to find was meant to save the lives of people who were saving lives. And it just, it's one of those things where if this were a clean and simple process where we just had to do our jobs and follow a playbook, it would have been one thing, but we were dealing with rampant fraud. The entire ecosystem had sort of turned in on itself, where we were actually competing for PPE with our own neighboring jurisdictions, knowing full well that our borders are so porous that it doesn't actually matter if we get it and they don't, because ultimately we'd all end up in the same place anyway. But it was just a terribly dark time, I think, in the history of procurement. And the fact that the team was trying to do this all the while amending contracts for other services that were essential services, from jails to HHS, everybody needed changes to how work was going to be delivered. It just really was one of those times that will, it definitely was a character building and a huge professional development opportunity for many of us. But otherwise, yes, we partnered with other departments, as you'll see on the top left-hand side. We coordinated creative ways to get life-saving resources like CPAP machines that we gathered via donations from retirement communities, and CPAP machines, by the way, can also be used as ventilators if necessary. Luckily, the day never came that those CPAP machines had to be used, but the point is we were creative enough to get a hold of them. And of course, we already discussed the LSPRP informals, which again just gave small businesses an opportunity to stay afloat. So this is probably the most data-heavy slide, but I think it's worth mentioning some of these things. You can see the procurement numbers did increase year over year, although very marginally. But what you will notice that is a little bit more stark is the number of procurement actions actually went up. So these would be things like your requisitions off of those contracts. What strikes, I think, the two data points that are probably the most striking are the next two. Contract modifications went from 542 to 729. And again, remember, these types of modifications require staff involvement. They require signatures from managers. It's a whole process. These numbers probably don't do justice to the pain that sits within it. And then the specialists portfolio. It used to be 150 contracts per specialist. It's now 200 contracts per specialist. And keep in mind, these were people who are already wearing multiple hats, already doing all sorts of different work, which, by the way, there's another slide that follows that tells you about some of that work. But this was a very substantial increase. It's a 33% increase in workload, all the while trying to work remotely. And to answer a question that Costas had asked, I'd say part of what made this possible, frankly, was just the team that we have. They are just true and true public servants. They rose to the challenge. They rose to the call, the responsibility. And the other part of it, frankly, was the technology that we were able to bring about, the improved processes that were streamlined via technology solutions, and candidly, the flexibility of telework, where we trusted our folks to get work done. During COVID, we didn't have a choice; they had to work from home. But again, that flexibility, that consideration seemed to go both ways in my experience. And Grace and Pam can speak more to that if they'd like to, because they are the two managers in the Office of Procurement. And then the time to issue solicitations went up from 84 to 96 days. Again, there are very specific bottlenecks here that I could identify and that we are in the process of trying to address. And then the time frames went from 6 months to 9 months, but that's also in part because of various changes that would happen midstream. And again, Pam can tell you a little bit more about the reasons for it. But on the whole, we saw more savings and cost avoidance opportunities. We saw customer satisfaction ratings remain high at 93%. Could always be better. We were able to use various virtual data storage mechanisms, virtual folders, and we obviously modified our solicitation process to work via e-procurement, via e-routed workflows, as we put it here. And we developed these virtual contract folders that just allowed for teleworking and for things like virtual pre-submission and pre-bid conferences. So just a little bit of patting ourselves on the back here, but this is just some information about what staff has been up to. As some of you may know, there's this Innovation Accelerator program. The Office of Procurement had at one time the highest participation, and I frankly don't believe that that's changed. About a third of our team had actually participated in the Accelerator program. And as I look at this, I realize that Ed's name is actually missing from the list. So there's one more person on our team who participated. You'll see folks like Bethany have been involved in everything from collaborating with Tiffany Ward on race equity issues, as well as the MCG delivers mentoring experience. Sharonda Baltimore, who is a rock star in Montgomery County, was part of MCG Leads, but has been part of so many other smaller projects, IT related, that I couldn't fit them all in one page. And Karen DeLuca, just as another example, our wellness champion and employee giving champion, and head for the coordinator for the campaign. We won a lot of awards in the last couple of years. Some at the individual level that you'll see here that Pam Jones and Sarah Giambra won from the Maryland Public Purchasing Association. I was recognized, along with some folks on the call here, by the Montgomery County Chamber for being partners with them. The Office of Procurement on the whole also won a lot of awards. Just to put this in perspective, to my knowledge, in the entire history of the office, we had won 2 NACO awards. In the last 2 years, we've won 4 of them. We've received the Achievement of Excellence Award in Procurement from NIGP. And we continue to receive this sort of national recognition for what we are doing in the Office of Procurement in Montgomery County. But that was the presentation that I had for you. I wanted to make sure we ended it on a high note, but I'm happy to delve into any questions that you'd like answered.
Well, thank you for that presentation. I kept thinking about how I need to just thank all of you, this team, for ushering us into the 21st century and setting the stage. I mean, that I think has been also a theme of how so many of us were, busy working on improving certain processes and thinking about innovation and things like that in 2019, et cetera, and not even, a slight just hint of what was coming our way. But again, it speaks volumes to the notion that there are so many dedicated professionals with a willingness to think laterally, right? And really face this pandemic head on. And as you were just mentioning, Director Shetty, that was very important that you shared how, traumatic the first stage of this pandemic was for you. I think oftentimes we think, well, Department of Health and Human Services, et cetera, but really this just affected everybody across the board because we did not have a manual. We did not have, best practices to follow during something like this. And it just took all this creativity, innovation, and just absolute dedication to get it done. So I want to thank you for that. It wasn't listed in your list of awards, but you do deserve an extraordinary award for having to sift through that madness and able to move forward to procure what we needed throughout this whole entire time, but then also taking advantage of those lessons to enhance your work. And it is significant to look at some of the things that you've been able to achieve that had not been achieved ever before. So just truly grateful for that and all the things to come as well, of course. All right, let me turn to my colleagues. Councilmember Katz.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and well said. And Ash and everyone associated with it. I have been extremely impressed from day one, from when Ash got here, and I know others have been here along the way as well. And you talked about the couple of years ago when Mark Elrich and I were doing our tour for small businesses, how you changed literally pretty much you and your team. I'm sure it wasn't you, just you, changed the amount of paperwork someone had to go through for the procurement. Now, I have to tell you, I've told the story so many times. It's like a fish that I caught. It's gotten bigger and bigger over the years. I think I'm up to about 300 and some pages that you changed to about 9 pages. But it really was a dramatic and an effective and necessary type of something that you did immediately. And it showed that you cared. It showed that you got it, and it showed how much people really appreciated what you did. And I applaud your various programs, your that you've implemented or improved. I think your outreach and educational side is certainly significant, and it needs to always continue. And you talked about the life and death of what you do, and of course, for COVID, it literally was life and death for a person. But in many cases, and certainly not to make light of that, and it was what you did, but in some cases, it's life and death for a business as well. If they can become a customer or a seller to the county, it really makes a difference for them. And so I think that you are absolutely on the right path, you and your team. And I, for one, am very, very impressed with you from, as I said, from the very beginning. And with that, I will turn it back to you, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Councilmember Friedson.
Yeah, I'll just echo those comments. I just thank the whole team. Thank you, Director Shetty. I do think that you're one of the model leaders within county government and really have led this department really well, but also I think you're a value add, across departments. And certainly during COVID, we were very grateful to have you. You and I had many conversations via email and text and phone calls into the early morning hours that we often called nights, and the work that you were doing around the clock to secure life-saving materials that first responders and healthcare workers and county residents needed really speaks to the work that you do on a regular basis, which is so important. And I think sometimes you don't think about it because it's so operational, and so it's a bit behind the scenes, right? You're the folks behind the stage who are making sure that everybody can stand on the stage and the set looks good and the materials and props are there, but not necessarily the folks who are performing, on the stage. But the show doesn't happen without the work that you're doing. County government doesn't work without the fact that we're procuring goods and services. And we talked earlier about trust in the public, really believing that our taxpayer dollars are being invested in the most efficient, most effective, most appropriate way to stretch them as far as we need them to go. You're at the forefront of that. And the progress that you've made, we're really happy about. I know that you want to make more progress, and we want you to make more progress. And so I'm just hopeful as we come out of this once in a century challenge that we learn some of the things that we did well. I think we're in a position to change the rules and do things that perhaps we had never done before. And I think you were at the forefront of that. And I think we can institutionalize some of those changes and continue to push the envelope, because the way that we procured goods and services before is not going to be able to be the way that we need to procure goods and services moving forward if we're going to stretch our limited taxpayer dollars for the services that our residents desperately need. So thanks for all your work. Thanks for the efforts to support local businesses. All of us are very appreciative of that. And we have to do more of that so that the money that we're spending stays in our community and supports our community. That supports not only the county economy, it supports our racial equity goals. It's hard to find a more diverse community than we have, and so we need to make sure that we're investing in ourselves and pushing those local businesses forward. So just thanks to all of you for all of your work, and I hope that we can continue it. And I know that all of us are behind your efforts, and I look forward to continuing to partner to make sure Montgomery County government serves its residents and the community well.
Thank you, Councilmember Friedson. All right. Anything else to add, Dr. Torregas? Anything that we missed on Mr. Mia?
No, just a reminder, you've met with the director of the Technology and Enterprise Business Solutions director, Ms. Gail Roper, last week, and she mentioned that she's got big plans to move many of our infrastructure to the cloud. And in order to change from machinery to cloud-based services, the relationship that she has with Mr. Shetty is key. And I know that the two of them have been talking and creating a platform where the procurement for internal things that the county needs is proceeding very well. So I just wanted to memorialize that because we just had Ms. Roper mention that as well. So thanks, Ash, for all you do. And also Pam and Grace, I'd have to say, they're so responsive. Any question that I have or Naeem has, they're right on it, and they give us the information we need in record time. So I appreciate that collaboration.
Well, thank you very much. I think this has been a super productive work session to, again, take a little bit of time to just hear about all the amazing work that you are doing and will continue to do. So again, our appreciation for taking on this extraordinary task and delivering in such an incredible way for our residents, which is the real reason why we're all here. All right, I think with that, colleagues, that concludes our oversight work session today. And I do want to also thank our council staff for always preparing very informative, well thought out packets that give us an opportunity then to be ready for these types of conversations. So everybody stay safe, and we'll for sure be in touch. Take care.
See each other this afternoon.
Yes, we will. That's it. All right, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.